Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel and to today's video all about the introduction to the financial reporting, that's the FR, also known as the F7 ACCA exam. My name is James and on my channel I help out accounting students and ACCA students around the world pass their examinations, and I dedicate all my videos to my lovely subscribers. And today is no different, as you can see on the screen now. Thank you very much, Yumei-ma, for your comments, and so pleased you enjoyed the other videos. This video, if you watch it all the way to the end, it's going to take you through the tips that you've requested. And if you'd like videos like Yumei-ma, if you've got any comments of what you thought of the video, be sure to leave me a comment below. I answer them all. And if you'd like access to all my free materials, be sure to give the video a massive thumbs up. Thank you for the support as ever. I really appreciate it. It's so pleasing that the videos are helping so many of you pass your examinations. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future videos that could be the difference in just getting those final marks, hence for today's lecture. Because in today's class, we're going to be going through first of all the syllabus, then going on to the examination, and then some final exam tips, so make sure you stay to the end. Now, first of all, you've got 5 key syllabus areas in your financial reporting examination, A to E, as you can see on the screen, and we're going to walk and talk you through all of the key elements that you need to be aware of here. So for the conceptual and regulatory framework for financial reporting, you've actually first got to say, well, why do we actually need this? This is regularly tested along with the actual characteristics, how it's recognised, the measurement, and also the regulatory framework that you need to demonstrate knowledge about. And this will be in the computer-based examination where you're going to have right or wrong answers, true or false, or you're going to have to select which is the correct statement. So really key elements there. Coming on to section B now, we have the accounting for transactions in financial statements. And if you haven't already, check out the technical articles available on ACCA's website. I have done a how to pass video for the financial reporting exam where I go into this in a bit more detail. But for your notes in today's class, what you need to get down that you need to have a good knowledge about and how they impact on the financial statements are, first of all, tangible assets, first key element, intangible assets next, impairment, inventory, financial instruments, leasing usually gets tested on there, provisions for after the reporting period, taxation, financial performance, so that's coming on to ratios that we'll talk about later on, revenue itself, how it's recognised, government grants, and finally foreign currency. These are the critical elements that you need to have a good base knowledge and how they apply to a company in a variety of ways. Next we have for syllabus area C actually analysing and interpreting the financial statements of single entities and groups. This is absolutely critical again for your examination. It will be coming up, so you're going to be looking at ratios here, but not just simply calculating them. You've also got to talk about the limitations behind them, so that when you're actually analysing, are they comparable? Calculating and actually interpreting them, so the percentages, are we in a better or worse position? And then talk about the stakeholders. Why do they actually need these ratios and the actual financial statements themselves and how they're analysed, and what are they actually going to do with them? Because you could have a completely different set of information that it could be from a public entity, it could be from a non-profit entity, and it could just be a simple limited company accounts. So these are the key things you need to identify in your examination. Next, we've got to come on to, for syllabus area D, the actual preparation of financial statements. And I touched on it earlier on, but this is the key critical element we'll talk about with section C of your exam later on. And this is where you're either going to be tested on a single entity or a consolidated financial statements. And the key thing to get written down there is with the consolidated financial statements, you could have subsidiaries in there and also associates. So you need to know the difference between the two. A subsidiary, you have control over 50%, whereas an associate, it is between 20 to 50% on there in terms of ownership. Finally, we have the employability and technology skills, and this is where you need to demonstrate your actual use of technology. So this is through the computer-based examination actual practice platform on ACCA's website if you're doing the online exam. But in terms of information, it's how you actually present it, how you articulate it, and then the actual information itself, potentially in the world of work, how it could be manipulated, or potentially actually, well, could we maybe talk about window dressing? How do the figures actually represent what is going on within that company? So that takes you through the broad areas of the syllabus there from parts A to E. Now, you need to be aware of the different sections within your actual examination, and this is for the CBE exam format, where in section A, we've got 30 marks, section B, you've got 30 marks, and section C, you've got 40 marks. And this is where you have OTQ questions in section A, 15 of those at 2 marks each. In section B, you've got 3 case-style questions. All of these are 10 marks each for each style question, so 3 times by 10 is your 30 marks. And within those, you've got 5 objective test questions again, marked by the computer in sections A and B, 2 marks. Section C, you've got 2 constructed response scenario questions, and we'll walk and talk it through now what you should expect to see in each of these different areas. So the CBE exam itself, you've got to understand that it's 3 hours long, and honestly, it will fly by for you once you get started in there. You're going to be given some reading time at the start, but this is only to go through the instructions and not to be going through any of the requirements or the scenarios. Sections A and B, as we talked about, are all about objective test questions, but what that means is that you're going to have a true or false or a selection answer, and they're all marked by a computer. Whereas section C are answered via a spreadsheet and a word processor or a sort of Word document on there, and that means that you're actually going to have to type out, and an individual, a marker, will be going through those. The pass mark required for this examination is 50%, so there are 100 marks on the paper, you need to achieve a 50 plus to get through it. But the average pass rate, and what this means is for every 100 students that attempt the exam, only 50 will pass it. So a really tricky exam, and that's why managing those 3 hours we'll be talking about in the next slide. If you are new to financial reporting, or maybe you've not done accounting in a long time, maybe you've got some exemptions, your prior financial accounting, so that's the ACCA F3 paper, is really key to understanding the actual concepts within this exam. So if you've got time before your exam, maybe before you start your tuition, I'd highly recommend that you check out your old notes on there and get yourself up to date and up to speed. So coming on to now some real key exam tips that I would highly recommend, that these can be the difference in getting you into that 50 plus and the 50% that actually pass this exam. Well, first of all, it's really key to highlight that all of the syllabus can be tested and you can't really question spot on this. Because the reason why I state that is that in the external examiner's reports and what ACCA put out for students is that within section C, for those 2 20-mark questions, they've told you what you're going to be tested on. So this is where students fall into the trap of just simply revising a single entity or a group's financial statements. So you're going to get those in terms of how you actually present them and how we actually interpret them. So if you'd like to get that down in your notes, you can expect to see that on your examination. But the reason why I said you can't question spot is lots of students just focus on those 2 areas and they think, well, if I do well on those 2, I think I've got a good chance of getting through. But as we touched on before, there are so many other elements such as tangible, intangible assets, leasing, taxation, revenue. You would have a real core understanding of all of those elements. And if you'd like access to a syllabus review of everything you need to know, I'll put it at the end of this video and in the description below. I've done a video on the channel. It'll be really helpful for you and could be the difference in you passing. Exam time management is always mentioned within the external examiner's report, that students run out of time, especially on section C. So it's 1.8 minutes per mark on there. We've got 180 minutes divided by the 100 marks. So that is where you get 1.8 minutes per mark, how you allocate it. Silly mistakes are continually made within sections A and B because it's marked by the computer, so it's either right or wrong. So try to give yourself time within the examination to go back and check those answers, because you will have made silly mistakes. And coming on to point 5 now, we've got revisit your financial accounting actual materials. And also they mentioned in the syllabus guide going through your law study materials as well. There are a few elements of law in the financial reporting exam that follow on from that F4 or the LW paper. If you haven't done any already in your practice or revision, depends when you're actually watching this video, Make use of the CBE ACCA practice platform, do as many past papers as possible, and then try to get all of your notes clear and concise into different areas. That is definitely going to help you out to pass. And to read all those ACCA technical articles that are all up to date, especially if you've got time, or if you're struggling on an area, check it out on the articles, make some notes, and you will improve going forward. Well, that takes you through absolutely everything you need to get started on a nice introduction to the financial reporting examination. If you have enjoyed today's video, be sure to give it a massive like and thumbs up. And I'd highly recommend you check out one of the videos, click them on the screen now, I'll join you on the other side, and it could be the difference in getting you those final little marks to pass your financial reporting exam. But, as always on that bombshell, I'll see you next time. Cheers!